Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. It's time for Owin's Field Report, sponsored by Les Schwab Tire Centers.
Welcome back, everyone. We're going to pull up some info for you here in a second. This week was one of those weeks where it started out a little rough. I haven't been fishing for Chinook, as you all know. If you've been watching the show, I was focused on chasing steelhead. Well, it's salmon season now, so I had to get out there and have a shakedown run. Went out on Monday and decided I was just going to give it my best go on one of my favorite spots on the Willamette, do some herring fishing, trolling, do some bouncing. Ultimately, after just a couple of hours, I've got a bow mount trolling motor up on the bow, and I'm thinking, you know what, why am I working so hard? So I go up there, and I just kind of lean over to, drop that motor in. It's not the Altera, it's a Terova. And my zipper was open on my jacket, which most of us, our jackets are, got a chest thing here. Like, no, I'll be fine. I leaned over, and guess what happened? Phone goes away, 30 foot of water. I'm going to tell you right now, this is a fishing and hunting show. We're not talking about phones. But for all of us outdoors people, our phones are pretty important. Hundreds, if not thousands of photos, hundreds, if not even more, contacts on it. Back up your stuff. I'm just saying it, okay? And for all those cell phone companies that are out there, would you please make it a little bit easier for us just to buy a phone? It's like buying a house. Anyway, crazy. Overall, on Monday, I only had a couple hours to fish. Never saw anything happen. Went back out on Tuesday and gave it pretty much the entire day. No bites, didn't see anything happen. Heard of one here, one there. And that's the way that the reports have been all week. Doesn't matter if it's on the Columbia or the Willamette. There are some fish being caught, and they've been getting caught throughout both systems, all the way from Bonneville down, and then from the lower channel all the way up. Just one here, though, one there. Now, there's some out there that are doing better than others, like there always is, but overall, it's a very slow start, especially being the end of March. Now, we can only hope that, like other runs, that things are just late, right? If you take a look at the fish counts 10-year average, which we're not going to show you that today, there's nothing really to show. It's just a flat line. There is no variant there as far as fish going over Bonneville in particular. So, weird, yes, but like that video we just showed you, sea lions are really thick throughout the entire system, which doesn't make fishing better. If anything, it makes it a lot harder. So it is a little interesting on how this last week's going to go, but we can only hope that things will improve as things go, right? Just kind of cross your fingers on that. Let's take a look at fish counts real quick. Nothing too fantastic here. 37 going over the falls at Willamette in Oregon City, that is. Bonneville, I think it's right around 50-ish that have gone over total. Next one. 56 total is over the dam. Again, there's no blip. It's not like it's behind the 10-year average or not. It's just flatlined right at the very, very bottom. Let's go ahead and take a look at river levels as well. You can see that there was a bounce in the Willamette, and we're going to get to the turbidity in a second. The river did level off yesterday, so overall, this is a darn good thing. Anytime that you can see that bounce and it levels off and starts to turn, as long as the clarity will cooperate, today could be very interesting on the Willamette, right? We always try to be optimistic, but this can be very interesting. And with the nice weather, there's going to be plenty of people out there. So I'm sure that we'll hear, I'm hoping, better reports. Here's the turbidity as of the last 48 hours. You can see that it bounced up, but it bounced into the 7s. Perfect. I mean, perfect. This was so clear down here, it was almost like I wanted to cut my herring in half. So it was a smaller bait. But you got a little bit of color in the water, which I like. Some do, some don't. But I would prefer it to be more off color than too clear personally. But again, that's just that time of year. But moving along, taking a look at the Columbia, it's forecasted to start to drop. And then we're going to take a look at some of the smaller rivers, which we're going to get to that time of year now where we'll start pulling these out until later on in the year. But you can see that they're pretty darn good as far as levels go. Doesn't matter if you're along the north coast or mid coast or south. All of them got a good shot of water. All of them have some opportunities there. And for those that are still chasing steelhead along the coast, I will be quiet. I'm just saying that those are the conditions that you have. I don't know how many times I've said fish the conditions, not the calendar. That's about as far as I'm going to go with that. Let's go ahead and make sure that you're reminded that you can win a prize pack from Procure. Oh, sorry. Here's the Derby. This is what I was mentioning earlier, Mineral Lake. They have their annual fishing derby coming up. It is the end of April, so you can get yourself registered now. Last year, they had a great turnout. Everyone had a great time. We had a bunch of photos after everything was said and done. So if you're up in that area and you want to participate in a derby, have a little bit of fun, maybe have an opportunity to win something cool, there you go. Put that on your calendar, the 27th and 28th, and you see all the info there for that Mineral Lake Fishing Derby. Now, if you want to win a prize pack, send Jason an email, and you might have a prize pack. We're going to talk about some of these pieces of this prize pack today, later on when we get them up and running. But let's check in with Katie Suniga and find out what we can expect as far as weather goes. And Katie, it looks like we got a handful of really nice days, but things change quickly.
Yeah, they do. I was actually thinking about making a flip-flop forecast because I know that the weather is so dependent for Owen, whether he wears his flip-flops or not. So let's take a look at the flip-flop forecast.
I was going to wear them this morning, and I looked outside. It was 39 degrees in Oregon City. I'm like, nope, 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 nope.
Well, I think you're going to have some flip-flop days when we look at the next at least 4 days. First, I want to look and show you guys where we are for the month. We have 2 days left. Both of these days should be in the mid-60s, which means our monthly average with that mix of warm and cool will end right around 1.5 degrees above normal. Pretty close to where we should be. We will be short on our rain by a little more than an inch because we're not expecting anything today or tomorrow. Here's what's changing. We've been in this ridge trough pattern, not too abnormal for the spring. This is the trough that we've had. This is why it was so chilly and there were no flip-flops this morning. But as we go through Easter Sunday, you'll notice this ridge is coming in, and I'm pretty sure Monday and Tuesday will be that flip-flop weather that we'll be looking for. And then as soon as we get to Wednesday, this drops down rather quickly, and that brings us the cooler, showery conditions on Wednesday through the rest of the week going into the weekend, because you'll notice it goes all the way until we get to Saturday. What this looks like on the 7-day forecast is 4 days right here. That's where we split the difference, and we go from our flip-flop weather back to our shoes, and for me it would even be a light jacket. We stay that warm and setting. Overnight temperatures still a little chilly maybe through this weekend, start of next week, but then that warms up, and then we cool back down, and we could see some overnight temperatures in the 30s, but nothing freezing during this time, which is really good.
Basically, what that tells you, everyone, is the end of the week before they close the Columbia down, you're going to get real spring Chinook weather. Rain, wind, and nastiness.
There you go.
Thanks, Katie. Have a great day. All right, we're going to cut to a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to have Steve Lynch, Jason Hambley from Procure. We're going to talk about herring, prawns, coon shrimp, some tips there on how to make your eggs a little bit better from the experts. So don't go anywhere. We're going to have that for you when we come back in just a couple minutes.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by P-Line, because we fish, by Hawken Fishing, perfection in fishing gear, and by Haxton's Canvas and Upholstery, the trusted name of the Pacific Northwest.